morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio, and today, I'm making a video that I've wanted to make for a while, and I'm legitimately excited about. Today, I'm going to show you the fastest, quickest, cheapest, easiest way to start playing the Pokémon TCG competitively. So whether you're new to the game and you want to get going, or whether you just want to build a new deck, or you just want to find out the cheapest way to build your collection in terms of competitiveness, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I got your back. Now, one thing I do need to mention right at the beginning here, every year the Pokemon trading card game has what we call a rotation. That is to say that certain expansions are no longer legal for tournament play. And we are expecting, it's not been confirmed, but it's near enough, that in August/September of this year, 2021, we are going to go to a Sword and Shield on rotation. Which means every set from Sword and Shield forward is going to be legal for tournament play. And all of the Sun and Moon sets up to and including Cosmic Eclipse will no longer be legal for tournament play. In a couple of months, I'm going to show you my video as to why I'm sure that's going to be the rotation and early impressions of it. We're not there yet, but we will be soon. So what that means is if you want to start building competitive decks, you really want to focus on decks which are going to survive in the Sword and Shield era. So things like Pikachu and Zekrom, very good deck now, that is going to rotate. Things like Blacephalon, pretty good deck, can be made a bit cheaper than some because of the main attacker being just a normal rare card. But it's not going to survive the rotation. The main attacker is going to be rotated. That is not me saying don't build decks around them now. That is me saying that if you really want to focus on cost, stick with decks that are going to be Sword and Shield cards, which are going to be playable after the rotation. Don't focus too much on trying to predict the metagame, that's going to be a nightmare. I mean, use cards that are not going to rotate. Pikachu and Zekrom will rotate, Zacian V won't, so maybe newer players should go more towards Zacian V than they should Pikachu and Zekrom. Now, straight off the bat, and we're going to circle back round to these later, but if you just want to get rolling and you just want to have a viable deck, go and buy a League Battle deck. League Battle decks are not perfect, but they're pretty gosh darn good. They come in 3 flavors, Pikachu and Zekrom, Reshiram and Charizard, and Zacian V, and they give you basically viable decks. Now, they're not perfect. If you want to go and win some tournaments with them, you'll have to make some changes. But we're talking like 10 to 15 cards out of 60. We're talking a sixth to a quarter of your deck. And then you've got a legitimate tournament-winning deck, which is nuts. They give you really, really strong decks with lots of staples in. Obviously, going back to what I said before, the best among them is the Zacian V League Battle deck, because although ADP is going to rotate out, Zacian V won't, and it's going to be fine without ADP, as a video coming soon, or has already come soon, depends on how the uploads go. Point is, Zacian V is a much safer bet at this stage. It also happens to be the best among them for staples, but again, we'll circle back in a moment. But if you just want to get a competitive, a viable deck straight away, go and buy one of those League Battle decks. Honestly, I would recommend, if budget allows, to buy all 3 of them, because you'll get lots of good staples, you can play them against each other, learn the game, etc. It is a thing I would highly recommend. The other really cool product, and this has been reduced in a lot of places lately, so it might be one that you can pick up for a pretty good price, is the Trainer's Toolkit. I think the Trainer's Toolkit is a phenomenal product that you should all be looking out for if you haven't already. Now, it retails for $30, but I've recently seen it, selling for a lot less. People have been reducing it, which is cool. And basically, you get yourself a whole bunch of trainer cards, you get yourself 4 booster packs, but you get stuff like 65 sleeves, and you're going to need sleeves if you want to play competitively. You get yourself tournament legal dice, burn and poison condition markers that you're going to need, etc, etc. It kind of gives you everything you need in terms of the extras, like the dice and sleeves and all that, while giving you a bunch of staple cards, some booster packs, and it does give you a couple of Dedenne. Now, Dedenne is a weird card, because at the moment, Dedenne is a phenomenal, amazing, brilliant card that sees play in the vast majority of decks. When you play it, you discard your hand and draw 6 cards. It's phenomenal. but it's going to rotate out when we hit August, September. So this is the kind of card that if you're playing now, you probably need, but it's not going to survive the rotation, which was one of our rules at the beginning of the video. But if you buy the Trainer's Toolkit, you'll get 2 Dedenne, which is enough for the vast majority of decks. And you get yourself all the other cool stuff, and it's going to cost you less than $30. So I would highly recommend, if you just want 2 products without all the other explanation, if you just want 2 products to get yourself rolling, go and buy a Zacian V-League Battle Deck and a Trainer's Toolkit. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to give you every single card you need to go and win every tournament right now. But what it is going to do is it is going to give you a really solid foundation. Also worth pointing out that nowadays Pokemon products tend to come with code cards. So fixed cards, that is to say all of the staples, etc. in the Trainer's Toolkit, I believe, and every card from the Zacian V-League Battle Deck, which I know, they will come when you enter that code onto the Pokemon trading card game online, which will build your collection on there quite nicely as well, which is important. I think the Trainer's Toolkit will give you all of the cards. I know it will give you like the Dedenne, so if nothing else, it will give you the Dedenne. You'll be fine. Now, in terms of cards, there are certain staples which you are going to need now, and when we hit the rotation, you are going to need them as well. These are the don't argue, you need these cards. These are they are going to be in every deck cards. And whether you're playing now or post-rotation, you are going to need these cards. Quick Ball is an item card. Discard a card from your hand, search for a basic Pokemon. It's a 4 of in every deck because it's the best way to search basic Pokemon that you need to evolve up into everything else. Professor's Research discards your hand and draws you 7 cards. It is the fastest, most aggressive draw supporter in the deck, and unless you're playing decks which really cannot risk discarding cards from your hand, and there are a few out there, you are going to play this as a 4 of in basically every deck. And similarly, Marnie, both players shuffle the hands into their deck. No, that used to be how those kind of cards played. You put them on the bottom of your deck, don't make the mistake. And then the person who played it gets 5 cards and the other player gets 4. Again, this is draw and disruption, and it is going to be played as a 4 of in the vast majority of decks. Similarly, Boss's Orders lets you drag one of your opponent's Pokemon from the bench into the active, so you get to choose who to attack rather than just attacking who your opponent's left active. And again, this is one of those that is just going to see a huge amount of play. There are a lot of decks that only play 2 of these, but it is becoming more and more common to play 3 or 4 of them, so you will need a playset of them. It's extremely important. Switch is a very kind of vanilla-y card. It's been around since the base set. Just lets you swap your active Pokemon with one of your bench, but it's still a card that you're going to need 4 of in basically every deck. Ordinary Rod is the best recovery we've got at the moment. It lets you put up to 2 basic energy and or up to 2 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. It's really good recovery, sees a huge amount of play. Crobat is our draw of choice. When you play it from your hand to your bench, you draw till you got 6 cards in your hand. It's phenomenal. At the moment, you can play Dedenne and or Crobat, but when the rotation hits, you need to switch to Crobat, which is why I've said with Dedenne, get the Trainer's Toolkit. Although, to be fair, the existence of the Trainer's Toolkit has pushed the price of Dedenne down, which is awesome, but the Trainer's Toolkit of $30 with 2 Dedenne is too good an opportunity to pass up. But the point I'm making here is that you're going to need those cards for basically every deck, but Crobat should be the priority, given that it will be surviving the rotation. And along similar lines, Oranguru, you probably never need more than a couple of these, but it lets you swap the top card of your deck with a card in your hand. So it kind of draws you a card, but it's also really good at, putting a card on top of your deck right before you play Professor's Research, rather than having to discard it. It's a really good card, and again, it sees a lot of play. I am not saying you don't need any other cards, but I am saying that if you dig through the winning deck list at the moment, those are the non-negotiable cards. Those are the cards that you need, no argument, just go ahead and try and get them. So then we get to the question of, well, all right then, what products do we need to buy in order to get these staples? Well, the Trainer's Toolkit's going to help you out quite nicely. You'll get 2 Professor's Research, 2 Marnie, 2 Boss's Orders, and 2 Quick Ball. And I know it's a lot of 2-ofs, I know they're not playsets, but it still gets you halfway there. Plus, the Trainer's Toolkit gives you the 2 Dedenne, your sleeves, your dice, etc. Like I say, unless you've already got these cards, and it even comes with 4 booster packs, which is cool, but unless you've already got these cards, unless you're a seasoned player, I think the Trainer's Toolkit is as close to an essential product as we've had. And actually, I've forgotten something really important here, because the Trainer's Toolkit also gives you basic energy. And one of the weird things as a new player is insufficient basic energy. Now, what I would usually recommend is going to your local game store. There will be somebody, and if you ever see me at a local game store, I can be that person who has got so much basic energy. When I used to attend my league very regularly every Tuesday, I would just carry around a whole bunch of basic energy so that if newer players ever needed it, and they often did, I could just give them some basic energy. Not my favourite kinds, but just to get them rolling. The thing is, with local game stores not really working and all that at the moment for obvious reasons, and if they are working, they're selling rather than letting you go and play, etc., your best bet, Trainer's Toolkit, gives you your basic energy. Have I sold you on it yet? I really should have done. By the way, I'm not on commission or anything stupid like that. It's just a great product. So, let's go back to these League Battle decks then. What do we get? Well, if we go to the Pikachu and Zekrom League Battle deck, we get 2 Quick Ball, 3 Professor's Research, 3 is good, 2 Marnie, 2 Ordinary Rod, remember 2 is all you'll ever need, 4 Switch, and you actually get yourself 4 Jirachi as well. Jirachi is awesome because it lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a trainer card and put it in your hand. It does go to sleep, but that's where that Switch card comes in. Jirachi is amazing, and you will want it in a lot of decks pre-rotation, but do bear in mind it will be rotating. So the Pikarom deck is pretty good, but you're not getting a huge amount of play sets there. Having said that, if you got the Pikarom deck with the Trainer's Toolkit, you would have that playset of Quick Ball, Professor's Research, Marnie, Switch, and you'd have your 2 Ordinary Rod as well. So all you'd really be missing is, your Boss's Orders, but you got 2 in the Trainer's Toolkit, and that's enough for most decks. So you're looking pretty good in that regard. Reshiram and Charizard, you get 3 Quick Ball, 3 Professor's Research, 3 Switch, and then you get 4 Welder and 4 Greens Exploration. Now these are 2 other cards which are going to be rotating come August, September time, but they're also really good staple cards for a lot of decks at the moment. Well, they'll let you attach 2 Fire Energy to a Pokemon and then draw 3 cards, which is great and is the engine for so many winning decks at the moment. And Green's Exploration, if you've got no Pokemon in play with abilities, lets you search for any 2 trainer cards and put them into your hand. These are going to be the engines for a bunch of decks, but bear in mind they will be lost when the rotation hits in September. But then we get to the Zacian V League Battle deck, and would you believe it? This is the best one for staples as well. We got ourselves a playset of Professor's Research, a playset of Marnie, a playset of Quick Ball, a playset of Switch, so they're all done. You get yourself 2 copies of Boss's Orders, which isn't a playset, but will be if you've bought the Trainer's Toolkit, and also 2 is often enough. 1 Ordinary Rod, but again, 1 Ordinary Rod is often enough. And you even get yourself 2 Oranguru, not to mention 2 Zacian, which is amazing. So, frankly, as I've said, it's not just the best because it will survive the rotation. It's actually the best for getting staples as well. So where does that leave us? Well, my recommendation was buy a Zacian League Battle deck and a Trainer's Toolkit. And if you do that, you're only really missing more Ordinary Rod. That's about it. Oh, and also Great Ball. I should have mentioned Great Ball earlier. It's another really good Pokemon search, but you can pick up Ordinary Rod. I looked on eBay before I recorded this video, and I could have bought an Ordinary Rod playset for £1.50 and a Great Ball playset for £2.50, although you won't get them on PTCGO. You will need to trade for them, but again, they're abundant and pretty cheap. So yeah, that'll work out quite nicely. Now, the one thing I haven't mentioned here is an easy way to get Crobat V. That is really the last card we're missing. And honestly, right, get your Zacian League Battle deck and your Trainer's Toolkit. Go and buy extra Ordinary Rod if you want to, and maybe a playset of Great Ball. And all you really need then is your Crobat. Well, Shining Fates is coming in to get our back here, because Shining Fates is bringing us a Crobat box. And if you buy the Crobat box, you get a Crobat V, a Crobat V Max, Jumbo Crobat V Max, a pin, I believe. Maybe a coin. It's a coin. It's definitely a coin. And 7 booster packs. Oh. Well, that sounds pretty good to me, doesn't it? Now, to be fair, this is not the cheapest product out there. It's not necessarily the best thing to do on a budget. But one thing to remember is that this Crobat coming out as a promo will push the price of regular Crobat down, which is a very good thing. You probably will have to bite the bullet on Crobat, I'm afraid. But honestly, this Shining Fates box is great value. I try and pick up 1 or 2 of those. Or you can just go and buy them singly, because the fact they're coming out as promos will bring the price down nicely. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think a pretty comprehensive look at exactly how you can start playing the Pokémon TCG competitively pretty cheaply. And if you go and buy yourself a League Battle Deck, Trainers Toolkit, and a couple of singles, before you buy Crobat V, you've probably paid $60 maximum. And you've got yourself a legitimate competitive deck that's going to survive the rotation. That sounds alright by me, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds alright by me. But I'd like to know what you think, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to know if you've got any other recommendations for how newer players, or anyone just looking to build a new deck really, can do so as cheaply and as efficiently as possible. So go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.